Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to another lovely Wednesday class. Hello everyone, and please say hello and where you're from. Always lovely to see you where you come from. Today we are back again, the two of us. There's Claire. I'm Basti. You may remember me. Hi Lynn, lovely to see you.
And hi Jane.
And Kat is there. Lovely. Titus, hello. We are in the last sort of stage of our sort of diagnosis, treatment, self-awareness and work kind of stage. It's not one of the elements, but it's a really lovely aspect to work with. And also it's leading us towards college weekend of diagnosis and treatment, where if there's anyone who lives in the UK or outside the UK, and you're wanting to come along to a beautiful CPD, so Continuing Professional Development Day, then Cliff is going to be running a masterclass on diagnosis and treatment on Saturday the 17th, this Saturday, in Norwich at our college. And if anyone wants to know more, they can Google Shiatsu College Norwich, and Kat, you may be able to put a link up on the chat for anyone who's interested. That would be great, please. Yeah, and there it is. Thank you, Kat. That is absolutely fantastic. Hello to everyone else more who's coming in. Simonetta, Georgie. Wonderful to see everyone. So we've got a great point of the week this week, and possibly a lovely class to come.
Definitely a lovely class to come.
Yeah.
Hi, Emma from Sheringham.
Oh, nice to see you, Emma. So first of all, I'd like us to start as normal, like imagining we're in a circle. So if you take a moment, sitting or standing, just close your eyes for a moment and just imagine that you are in a circle of people, whether you can see them clearly or not. And this is our Wednesday class group, people who are here live right this moment, and the people who are tuning in later. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming along. It's so nice to be in a class feeling. Here we are. Okay, and you can open your eyes again. It's just nice to start that way and to end that way. The sense of the group together. So, with that, I'm going to hand straight over to Claire to get us started with opening the governing vessel channel.
Yeah. Good morning. So yeah, we're going to do a few spinal rolls to wake up the spine. So if we can all stand up. And I think it's become a habit for me to want to do some shaking and wriggling just before we start. So actually, if we can all just, if you close your eyes, and we're just going to take a few deep breaths into your belly. That's great. And then if you open your eyes, we're just going to sort of wiggle, have a little shake out. You might want to jump up and down. You might feel that, for me, I've got a stiff shoulder that really wants to be shaken out. I've got a stiff hip as well. And then probably what you do to one side, you want to do to the other. If you're with someone, try not to kick. That's great. And yeah, I'm going to spoil the surprise. So yeah, we are working with the governing vessel today, and of course that runs back. So we're going to open up the spine. Yeah. And yeah, apparently a really good thing you can do for your spine is to do very subtle, vertebrae by vertebrae movements. That keeps it really healthy. So we're going to start standing up and we're going to roll down. I'm sure a lot of you have done this before, but it's such a great practice. So we're going to roll like vertebrae by vertebrae, starting at the top. It does help to close your eyes, I've found. It can get a bit hard at the bottom in your lower back. You may want to make sure that your hips are relaxed because they can tighten up. And that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Allow noise if you need to.
Yeah. And you might get to a point where you're just hanging, your head's nice and free, your shoulders are free. And then you can start coming back up, again, vertebrae by vertebrae. Try and keep those hips relaxed. That's really good. And we're going to do 2 more. So down again, starting from the top. And if your mind wanders, just bring it back, like in meditation, just bring it back to each vertebrae. That's your focus.
And it may just be a personal thing, but I very much appreciate bending the legs to support the body sort of rolling over and as well as coming back up.
Yeah.
Sort of have to find how we each move in and out.
And you may notice different areas that are sort of causing more of a reaction. Like I said, the lower spine can be a bit harder. And I find, for me at the moment, just behind the heart area, that can have just more of an intense feeling. Oof, how relaxing is that?
Oh, lovely.
So, just to finish off my part, we're going to do a few microcosmic breaths in each direction. This again, I find such a good way to relax and put you sort of back in your body. Me and Basti were discussing how breathing one way can be quite more invigorating and breathing another way can be more calming. So I'm actually just going to see, I'm sure a lot of you know what the reaction will be, but let's see which you find for which way. So breathing up, we're going to start by going up the spine. We'll start in the perineum, the Huayin. Is that how you say it?
I think it's Huiyin.
Huiyin.
But I mean, I'm not an expert on pronouncing Chinese, so. The pelvic floor.
The pelvic floor. So on the in breath, we're going to do 3 of these. We're going to go up the spine, up to this point in our head, and then we're going to, on the out breath, we're going to breathe down. So it's a circle. We're going to do 3. Okay. So you might want to close your eyes, see how you go. Great. I forgot to say also, if you keep your tongue on the roof of your mouth. So we're now going to do the other way around. So we're going to go up the front, starting at the Hua Yin. We're going to go breathe in, up the front, breathe out, down the back. 3 circuits. Okay. Great. So I'm sure you can all feel which is more relaxing. And actually, I've just got a quick analogy to talk about this exercise. So a long time ago, I had some sort of post-viral fatigue, and thought, oh no, there's no way out of this. It's, I thought it was the end. And I did these amazing sessions with a woman who, I didn't know anything about Shiatsu then, I was much younger, but she taught me the microcosmic breath, the second one we did, so it was going up and down. She said, every time you get more symptoms, you do that, and it puts you, and it really worked. And then each time I was able to think, oh, what's going on? What do I need to change in my sort of current situation? It was like magic. But now I know more of the science behind it. So yeah, I don't know if we can do a poll, but maybe you could just write in the chat, do you think?
Yeah, it'd be lovely to hear what anyone's experience of the breathing, whether there was much difference breathing up the back and down the front to breathing up the front and down the back. And if people have done it before, it's always nice to hear. And I'm going to get us to do a quick poll as well. No, actually, I'll wait for a moment. I'll get us to kind of go into a bit of a scan in a second. So Lynn says, I found it easier to breathe from the back to the front. That's all good. And Jane, I much preferred breathing up the front and down the back. Felt more natural and I became more present.
Down the back feels more relaxing, says Titus. Yeah, that's what I find is down the spine is much more sedating and relaxing.
So yeah, I think traditionally the microcosmic orbit of breathing up the back and down the front has been used a lot more, and it's generally about, it's still relaxing, but generally about more invigorating the Qi of the body, raising the yang and descending the yin, which sort of makes sense. However, the breathing up the front and then down the back can be very soothing, and it's perhaps that we're kind of bringing a different attention to the quality that's already there. Raising up, even though this is the yin aspect, and sinking down where the yang is. So if we're feeling overstimulated, that might be a better way to go. Lovely. Okay.
Oh, Titus, raising yin is an aspect he often leaves.
Yeah, well, we see if we can find ways of helping with these classes. So always good to make notes. I'm going to get us to just briefly check in with how our energy is feeling in terms of sort of like up, down, heavy, light, that sort of thing. And then we'll do a quick poll, and then we're going to go into some more slightly more dynamic exercises.
Excellent.
All good, isn't it?
And I guess I'll add that maybe what you found easiest or nicest with that might give you a clue, because if you felt better with going down the back, maybe you're feeling like your energy's more up.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Absolutely. This is, of course, all about diagnosis, treatment, self-awareness. So, yeah. And Exactly, Kat. Probably what feels most comfortable is what we need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can do this sitting if you want to, but I find it's easiest doing this standing. We're just going to do a quick self-scan and a check-in with our Qi in general. So if you'd like to, stand up and just have a moment standing. Feet hip to shoulder width. I always prefer shoulder width apart. And let the ankles, knees, and hips be a little bit soft. Let your body just be relaxed. Shoulders relaxed away from the midline, shoulder blades slightly down the back of the body. Let your head float up a little. We'll come back to all of this in a bit. But for now, take your awareness inside. We're not going to do a full long scan throughout the body, but what I am going to get you to check in with is, do you notice your attention a bit more up towards the upper body or more sinking down towards the lower body? Do you feel a bit more lighter or ungrounded? Do you feel a bit more heavy or sort of too sort of weighted and grounded and sludgy? So have a check-in with yourself. Where do you notice your attention going more? It may be a bit of both, but what takes a bit more precedence? Okay. And you can come out of that, just have a little bit of a shake. And I'm going to put a poll forward, so you will have to come and click on the computer for a moment. But it is your energy to up or down, very ungrounded a little bit, balanced, heavy and too grounded, or very much too grounded. And one of the great things about this is that it's incredibly simple, up or down, you know. But from there, we can really go into being a bit more self-aware in terms of the sort of, in a sense, archetypes, the two main archetypes, which of course in the Chinese background is yin and yang. So we've got a little bit of people very ungrounded, very grounded, and even less very ungrounded, but then the majority are just feeling a bit ungrounded, a bit up. Yeah, that's completely understandable. I had that the same. A little bit heavy, but actually the majority was up and ungrounded. So that's actually going to be really interesting. There's a little bit of both, but the majority is ungrounded. And we are going to work with a point today. Kim, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But hopefully by the end, Kim, you will be a lot clearer. Perhaps perfectly balanced. We shall see what we shall see. What we're going to do is we're going to work with clearing some of the channels in general. We're going to work with the yin channels to begin with, nourish them a bit. Work with the yang channels, clear them and get them moving a bit. We're going to check in with the point of the week, which is a brilliant point of the week. It has many names. I don't even know if we're going to be able to say all of the names, but we'll go into it in a bit. James also, sorry to hear that, but let's check in with us all at the end. I'll try and make sure we've got time. Now, let's start by just, as we sometimes do, I'm going to bring the chair around, getting into some points on the feet. So, let's get into kidney 1, the most yin point on the most yin part of the body.
So nice.
And of course, if there's any need for your getting into your yin quality more, this is a great point for it. So just spend a bit of time Just massaging, opening, relieving, whatever feels right for you. It could be that you're doing the same movement as everyone else, but what you're bringing to it, that's what's important. The way that you come to it, that's what makes most difference. And that goes with just about everything in life. So for me, there's a sense of opening because there's a bit of tightness, but also, yeah, a bit of nourishing. That's what I'm needing for this. And then a bit more into the whole foot, so you can go all the way around the sole of the foot and wiggle the toes a bit and loosen the bones in the foot. See how mobile your foot is feeling. Really loosen up the bones from each other. Okay, we can give it a bit of a tap. Lovely. And before we get going on the other foot, just notice the difference between the two. Lovely. Amazing. So grab your not totally big fluffy foot and really get into kidney 1. This is a great start for working with the yin. And for those of you who felt too up and ungrounded, this is, of course, one of the best points to work with. If you want, you can also go into liver 3, which is when you come from where the big toe and the next toe meet, and you come up towards where the bones converge. On the way, there's like a soft dip. And you can get into there as well. That's another great point for this. And for those who felt a bit low and sort of dropped in, and you want to lift a bit more, then you can hold kidney 1 and send Qi up more, up through the legs into the lower body, and kind of send that up. Okay.
I wanted to add, like those of you that are saying you're struggling a bit, it's still amazing that you've managed to come online and try and help yourself out.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. General foot squidging and a bit of tapping. Okay, lovely. I'll move the chair. Now, this next bit, I'd like us all to stand up if we can. And just trying to think how much to go into detail. I might have to make this the simple version. I was going to go literally channel by channel, but I think to save time so that we've got enough time for what we really want to get into, we're going to do the simple version, which is going to be, we're going to do do in like we've done before, which is the tapping thing, but I'm going to get us to tap across from the edge of the chest, just under the collarbone, under the armpit, and then at the underside of the arm, and the inside of the hand, and then turn the hand over, outside of the hand, upper and outer part of the arm, and then on top of the shoulder. So we're going down the yin, up the yang, in the arms. Do that another time. Okay, and then come across to the other side, underneath the collarbone, underneath the armpit, underside of the arm, keeping this hand open. So it's almost like you're knocking the stuffing, the dust out, or squeezing the toothpaste, the last of the toothpaste out of the tube. I quite like the idea of, there we go. And then back up the yang channel, last time. Now, from here, we're going to tap the upper chest, and then the rib cage, and then the belly. Now, from the belly, we're going to go down the outer sort of aspect of the leg, and back up the inner. to the belly again. And then again, outer. And back up the inner. And last time. This is down the yang and up the yin. It's the other way round for the legs. Okay. Hopefully that's kind of got a bit of qi moving. And I'm going to take my glasses off for this next bit. What I'd like you to do is just rub your hands together. Okay. Now, just hold the hands lightly together. And as you breathe in, breathe out into the hands. Imagine your breath and the qi with the breath is coming into your hands. And you can let them expand a little bit. So we're going to bring qi into our hands. And as much as you allow and want to, let your hands move in and out from each other as they breathe. Relax the shoulders, open the elbows and wrists. You may start to feel some interesting sensations between the hands. This is the sort of basics and the beginnings of something in Japanese called gyoki. Now, with a sense of this this qi that we've breathed into the space in our hands, I'd like you to slowly bring it up towards your face and then meet your eyes. And just sort of almost like you're rubbing, clearing, cleaning the eyes and the nose and your sinuses and your cheeks and jaw and your mouth. You can really squeeze in around where the gums and the teeth join together. And any area which you feel, oh, I really want to get in there. So for me, I really want to get into my jaw muscles or the temporomandibular joint. Maybe around the cheekbones. And then stroke over the head towards the neck. As if you've washed your hair and you're just kind of rinsing it out. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to tap around the sides of the head, from the eyes towards the neck, around the backs of the ears. And then over the top of the head, from the eyes towards the neck, from the top of the head.
Oh, Basti's got a hollow head.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not though, just follow sounding.
There's nothing in there. Okay. I'm going to give a little bit of a squeeze to the neck. Now, that can be done linking your fingers and squeezing with the heel of the hand, or you can rest the hands on and use your thumbs. Just squeeze in, or you can use your fingers, whatever feels right for you. One hand, two hands, and just squeeze the neck. Okay, and now, the way I like to do this is to hold the elbow with one hand, make a loose fist or an open hand, whichever you prefer, with the other. Now do some circles with this, right? Get the arm moving. You're controlling it with this hand. Okay, and then plop, plop, plop. And you can do it onto where the neck comes down and meets the shoulder. And you can be as light as you need to. You can be really gentle with this. Gentle open hand. Or if you feel like you've got lots of stuck tension, you really want to knock it out. There we go. And come from the neck out across the top of the shoulder. And if you can, reaching over just onto the back of that bit of shoulder. And remember, you're really letting both of your shoulders be relaxed. Okay. Now we're going to do the other side. Hold the elbow, Make it do some circles. And then plop, plop, plop. Now you don't have to hold it. You can just do this with your hand. I kind of like this.
It makes it feel more like someone else's massaging you.
It does, doesn't it? That's what I like about it. You're kind of like, oh, I can kind of let go into this. Okay, and if you can reach further around, that's great. Now, if your shoulders are okay with it and your back's okay with it, reach around and kind of tap around as much of the upper body that you can reach to. If you've got someone else with you, what you can do, of course, is do this tappy, 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 either side of the spine. Really lovely to do. You may not have someone else with you, so you may just have to stick to it's like, and then when you get to a certain point, you can reach around and tap.
Oh yeah.
Ah.
That's nice then. It's where the kidneys are, isn't it?
Yeah. I always find it helps to make sound. So. And you've got your hips. Don't forget going around the hips. Lots of tension around the buttocks and hips. Are good in that. And then the backs of the legs. And then right up on the inside back of the leg is the kidney. Ladder right on the backs of the legs. And then turn your toes out and right up on the inside backs of the legs. Okay, and we're just to help stroke down from the neck and shoulders. So there are a lot of us who are up and ungrounded, so there's going to be a lot of energy in the upper body. So you can kind of breathe in and almost like you're throwing it out of your hands towards the ground. Now, if you were more sort of too much down, then you can spend more of the energy on like that. But if you've got more up here, okay, lovely. Ah,
God, the noise helps, doesn't it?
it really does. I'm going to have to put my glasses back on to see what I'm even doing. Okay, where have we got to? Fantastic. Now, before we go straight into point of the week, I am going to briefly describe that it is on the crown of your head. And this is, like I said, it's got loads of names. We'll go into them in a minute. But what I'd really like us to try, now that we've kind of got a lot of Qi moving, and we've opened up the channels a bit more, is get a feeling of the body and the body lifted and supported by this sense of the crown of the head. We will also, of course, get into the ground, and then we might even try just moving a little bit, but keeping this sort of central axis of crown of the head through the perineum, the pelvic floor towards the ground. And the way we're going to do this, it's really quite simple, even though I'm going to talk loads, but when don't I? Bring your attention to the crown of your head, however that means for you. And imagine it just being slightly drawn up by a string from heaven, suspended from the heavens, suspended from the cosmos, however you want to think of that, from your crown. And gently tuck your chin in a little bit, and that is like you're lifting the crown, and then it's like you're bringing the neck back towards the collar of your shirt or top, just a little bit. Not really like pushing it back, just a little there. That's all you need. Every time I get into my alignment. There we go. So crown lifted, chin gently tucked in. Allow the spine to relaxedly hang down like a string of pearls. The shoulder blades sink down the body. Tips of the shoulders float away from the midline, leaving the armpits just open a tiny bit and the arms hanging loosely. As you breathe, feel your rib cage relax around your spine. Remember the crown lifted, chin gently tucked in, spine hanging. Your belly, your hara, settled and centered into your Qi, your hips. From here, allow your hip joints to be open and relaxed, your knees open and relaxed, your ankles open and relaxed, feet flat on the floor. Allow the body to make its own micro movements. Maybe it's just rocking backwards and forwards a little bit, finding its center. Just go with it. Maybe little moments of like, ooh, ah, ooh, are happening in the body where it's just tipping a little bit here or there, or something just kind of wants to lift and then just kind of let go. And the thing we want to do is keep coming back to this principle of crown lifted, gently tuck in the chin, release the spine, relax the shoulders, hips, knees, ankles. And then whatever the body needs to do is whatever the body needs to do. Sometimes we get into a state of relaxation where the body has to release an old tension and we may twitch, or we may have a part that kind of shakes a bit. And that's okay, allow it. We're just going to give ourselves a couple of moments with this alignment. Feet settled on the ground. You may feel the legs more heavy or full, or sort of like deep roots. You may feel the upper body become a bit more free and open. And whenever your attention goes to different places, that's okay. Occasionally just go, oh yeah, crown lifted, chin gently tucked in, spine hanging. Relaxed in the shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. Okay. Now, just interestingly, so we're going to see what it's like. If we can keep this sense of this kind of alignment and start to move, the first thing we're going to do is sink over to one side, but trying to keep that sort of straightness and sense of alignment. Okay, and then come over to the other side. So again, crown lifted, everything sinking. Now what we can do is come over to one side and turn a little bit. So it's like we're pointing towards the other leg. And then sink into that leg, facing that way. And just notice, as you bring your weight forwards, is the crown lifted, chin tucked in, shoulders relaxed? Is the spine hanging straight down, or have you kind of tipped forwards and sinking straight? Okay. Now turn a little bit and then sink again. Turn out the other way. And allow yourself to just staying open, lifted from the crown. I'm just going to bring weight into that front foot now. Same again, just notice how that feels. Is your energy becoming a bit up again? Is it becoming a bit down again? Can you feel a way of centering in this alignment? Okay, turn that foot in, turn that foot out, and step. It's kind of almost like we're, and you can make it as quick as you want. If you want to, you can really kind of just, go for it if you want to. But it's more about the sense of the crown lifted, the spine hanging, and how the body needs to just naturally readjust and feel that openness. Whew, it really actually gets me going. I got like, I'm overheating. It's because we're releasing lots of energy. So for a moment, we'll come back to both feet. Nice relaxing breath. We're going to just press through the ground, lift the hands up, and then just let the hands roll back down. Almost like they're going to make a circle, like that. So press the feet into the ground, head lifted, and then roll back down. Just do a couple of these, just so we're moving some of that stuff that we've released. Okay, lovely. And have yourself a little bit of a shakeout if you need to. If you prefer, you can just bring your hands to your dantian and let that really settle deep in. It's up to you what you need. I need to move it out a little bit. Great. First things first, how was that for everyone? And then second things second, we're about to come to point of the week. So you can do this standing up or sitting down, it's up to you. We should get the slide up because it's a... oh, is it this one? Yes. Here we go. GV20, Governing Vessel 20. Also known as Du Mai in Chinese. Fantastic, very settling. That's lovely to hear, Emma. I'm glad. Yeah. So most of the time, if you look up in books and things like this, it will be called Bai Hui, 100 Convergences. And the name refers to the points, location on the vertex of the head, the high point of the head, which is like a yang pole of the body, which is why I wanted us to do that exercise to really get a sense of our alignment, but also how this point is really key because it's like the uppermost point and it needs to be kept vertical as we move through. And there is an influence on various channels because they converge or meet here. Mainly what we have are this channel, which is the central yang channel, governing vessel. There's also the gallbladder channel, has a branch that connects here. The bladder channel that goes over the top of the head also meets here. The triple heater channel, which is also in the head, has a connection with this. And I believe the liver also has a certain branch that connects up here. I mean, that's a lot of channels straight up. That's 5 channels. 3, I think there's one of the names is like 3 yang, 5 channels or something. I'm going to find it now because it's just such a hilarious sort of thing. Here we go. The name 3 yang, 5 meetings, which is San Yang Wu Hui. There's another one of the names. You've also got Dianshan, which means mountaintop, because the mountain is an aspect of the earth and our bodies are much of an aspect of the earth, but it reaches up and at its zenith meets the heavens. So it's like, of course, mountaintop. Another one is Tianmen, which means celestial fullness or the meeting of heaven. Which is, I think, a beautiful term. So yeah, there's just a lovely way that they have descriptive symbology of names. But what's it for? I hear you all shouting. There's some really wonderful things that this can do. It can connect us with the qualities of what gets called heaven, which is very much a yang quality, but also has spiritual aspects about it. So it has a very clear connection of moving from the physical through the the psychological and into the spiritual. And often, I'm just going to put this out there as a perspective. A lot of what we have today that gets called mental health issues, I would say, are a lot to do with the soul and spiritual aspect of a person. So this point, and often you can feel that thing of there's just way too much going on up top. So holding this point to help descend that too much energy up top is really important. And it helps settle the spirit in the body too. So Tahira, you've asked, is anger too up, yang liver, even though feels down and heavy, thunderous? This is paired with top-down tiredness. Yes. Yeah, and often we can have a stagnation of the liver qi, not expressing enough and not moving enough, and it suddenly rages upwards with heat and difficulty and anger and all this kind of stuff, and you get headaches, especially throbbing in the top of the head. And then because of that sudden shift of energy, you'll be left tired afterwards. So what we're going to do is we're going to check in with this point, and I'll take away the thing in a moment, but it has this incredible effect where, as it says here, raises yang, which means it can counter things like prolapse. However, it also pacifies the yang and calms the spirit. I'm going to drop the slide now. So it sounds like that's doing two completely different things. Surely it's at odds with itself, but that's not the case. It is doing both of those things because it is it's an incredible point. And both of those things can be happening at the same time. So I'd like us to find this point, and the first way you can find it is find the tips of your ears, the very uppermost point of the ear, and follow that up to the crown of the head, but also just come backwards from there just a tiny little bit, and you'll feel it go into a little bit of a dip, and it might be tender. It is with me. That probably means that there's a little bit of sort of obstruction and stuckness of energy in that point. It's probably why I've got loads of energy up top. Okay. So let's hold this point, and from here, allow that sense of the yang, the heavens, the uppermost, to sink within. So remember, head, crown lifted, chin tucked in, relax the spine down, and allow, with that openness of the channel that we opened up a moment ago, for the energy to sink down. Allow, as your hand sits there, your shoulder to relax, the weight of your arm sinks down through your fingers into your head. That allows the qi to sink down and your mind to sink down through the body towards the lower belly, even the pelvic floor or the hips, even the floor itself. This is more the action of sinking, pacifying the yang, settling the shen or the spirit in the mind. Okay, just notice how that was. And you can give it a little bit of a rub if you need to, and relax your arms. So, how was that?
Yeah, it's such a powerful point, isn't it? Like, wow, I almost felt like my scalp was sort of like under the surface.
Brilliant. I'm interested to hear how it was for you, everyone. For me, it was at first very tender to touch. And then as I sunk in and I felt my energy sort of descending inwards in the center, which felt really nice, I also almost felt like the top of my head started to go like that, which is a strange thing. Yes. So because raising yang is supportive of its natural movement, i.e. not stagnant? Is that why it pacifies yang? That could be said to be true. One of the ways that you can look at this is that it has a connection with all of the yang points at its yang-most pinnacle, at which point yang is so yang that it has to turn back to yin so it can sink.
Like the mountain. I guess it's the tip, isn't it?
Yeah. And when you get to a point, it's like in the yin-yang symbol. You get, the yang comes round, and then at its fullest point, it has the seed of yin within it, but it can't be any more yang. So after that, yin emerges and sinks down. And at yin's greatest degree, then you've got a seed of yang, at which point it keeps just going. Yeah. So tender in my head, which released and then travels down and really felt a shift in front right to the chest. Lovely, Anna, thank you. Okay, we're going to hold the point again, and now we're going to find an opposite quality. And I really want us to get into the feeling of the experience that we've been going through. We started off just, is our energy too up, too down? We did the yin and the yang of the body in terms of tapping to get a feeling of opening and clearing. We opened up this central channel and especially noticing this being raised. So now we've done the point, holding it, and it sinks. Now let's hold the point again and have a sense of how, if you hold the point and take your attention to the lower aspect of the body and notice how there can be a natural sense of rising. So it's like water raises up through a plant and it holds it up. It doesn't push it up. It just simply naturally holds it up. So have that sense of almost like a gentle supporting and raising in the body. Relax your shoulder. Allow the arm to be relaxed and heavy, and that weight sinks through the fingers into the point. And as that sinks in, from the ground up, feel a natural raising through the body. Remember, your crown is lifted, chin gently tucked in, spine hanging, body open. There it is. Lovely. Okay. And release that point. If you need to give it a little rub, if you feel like you just work the head a lot, and give your hands a bit of a squeeze. Just get in between the bones in the hands, just to kind of draw out, and you can draw out the fingers one by one. Lynn, energy feels more even, but I feel more tired and emotional. This can happen because sometimes we open and we release some stuff that's been stuck within us. So as the day goes on, if you feel this, drink water, plenty of it, try not to do too much, and every so often just give yourself a bit of movement so that the energy doesn't kind of go back into those places where it's been held for a long time. So you can kind of allow it to move and find a fresh place to be. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much, Claire.
Thank you.
And one last thing, how about we finish off with the circle again? So I love your hearts, carry on putting them in a minute, but first of all, let's just close our eyes. Imagine being in this circle again. This circle that is the Wednesday class group. How lovely you all are. Thank you so much for being here. You make it what it is. And I'm so glad that we have this class. A moment of thanks in your heart, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you, everyone. Have yourselves a beautiful day, Always lovely to hear how things are going with you. And I'm going to put in, oh, not that, I'm going to put in a heart as well, and a cheerio hand. There. So, as we said before, this coming Saturday, a CPD day with Cliff. If you want to come and experience more diagnosis and treatment, if you already have a bit of a background in practice. If you're brand new to it, we would need you to have more of tutorial time with us, either tomorrow or Friday before joining in. So ideally people who already have a bit of a background, but we know you're there, and it's wonderful if you want to come join us.
Will this be online? That'll be in person, Kim.
Yeah, it's in person, the CPD day, I'm afraid. But the rest of our element weekends, which are the sort of like the general information stuff, those we have the Saturday morning Qi Gong and the Sunday morning Meridian yoga. They go out online. And I believe the dates of those are on our college website, which was put in the chat earlier. Or you can just go to Google and go Shiatsu College, Norwich.
And that's nice, Jane. She says there's more of a strengthening in the Wednesday class circle.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I felt that too, actually, from beginning to the end of just this class. Often is the way. You start the class, feels nice, end of the class, feels really held.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Big love with you all. So lovely to hear you. Oh yes, Happy New Year of the Wood Dragon.
Oh yeah.
And thanks so much. Really lovely sessions. They do help. Absolutely. Namaste. We've got to go because of time, but wonderful to see you all in the chat. Have yourselves a beautiful day.